Hello everybody and welcome back to RogueTech, where we have some repairs to do, and we're probably going to deploy before the Fafnir gets fully finished here. Let's just go ahead and take forward a few days, and we'll consider it. So the Fafnir is going to remain a ways away. So specifically, it should have been 1 day ago, but I ticked 1 day further than I intended. Technically we can deploy now. The Fafnir is not ready to go, and it would be ready to go this month tick, but I think that we're ready to do this. Let's go ahead and hop into the barracks and make sure that Kodiak has a point if he needs one, and indeed he does. There we go. Let's double check the mech bay. It should be completely fine, but I just want to make sure. Yep, looks good to me. So that is fine. We're going to hop into the command center as soon as RogueTech gets caught up here and see what options are available. Minimal. Okay. So, the more difficult stuff is not super available right now. We should maybe start considering moving to a more difficult location. I don't think that time is quite here yet. But it's something that we're thinking about. A battle, huh? Interesting. Major enemy resistance. Who's the op for here? The Federated Suns. Okay, fair enough. No free priority salvage. This is the toughest mission that we have available. Let's go ahead and do it, and we'll see what we've got. Of course, we can't bring in the Fafnir. We'll need to bring in another mech, and that will probably end up being the Awesome. And who do we have that pilots the Awesome? Paladin. Okay. Paladin will do. That'll be absolutely just fine. I definitely think we should start thinking about moving to another location. Maybe next time we take a huge amount of damage and have a pretty lengthy repair cycle. This was not that time, but we're going to start thinking about it. So let's go ahead and run this. This may be an interesting one, for sure. We know that there's going to be quite a lot of enemies, so this may end up being a multi-episode mission. We'll see how that ends up looking. If we were against Comstar or Word of Blake, A, I probably wouldn't run this, and B, we definitely would be looking at multiple episodes, but we'll see what we're up against. I do definitely want to start thinking about moving someplace at least one skull higher than where we are right now. Which I believe we're... What is the difficulty skull rating of the planet that we're on? I think this is like a 7 skull. We should probably start thinking about going to an 8 or 9 skull. Because the low end is starting to get way too easy for us at this point. And the high end is not as challenging as it was. That said, we haven't run into any like heavy airstrikes recently. The airstrikes are what's challenging currently. That said, we also do have the laser AMSs now. So that will certainly help, but it won't necessarily solve the issue. Yeah, I do think that pushing up the difficulty wouldn't be a terrible idea. We'll see how much damage we take from this particular mission and see if that might be something we want to do. I'll also have to find a suitable planet, and that's maybe something to do off camera because there's a lot of options, and I haven't been able to find a way to sort by planet difficulty that's higher than 5. Maybe there is one, but if there is, I don't know it. For now, we need to defend the friendly lances, plural, and destroy enemy forces. Commander, we're planning a joint patrol operation with our allies in a dangerous region of the planet. We're expecting trouble, but these joint exercises are part of a larger diplomatic effort, and it's critical that they succeed. We'd like you to provide some additional firepower to ensure that both our lance and our allied lance complete the patrol and evac intact. We're expecting major enemy resistance, so plan for a heavy drop. Sounds like they want us to bring the big guns, Commander. I'll let Yang know. He's going to want to watch. Okay, so we're going to have, looks like, 2 allied lances and 2 lances of our own. So how many enemy lances are there going to be?
Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.
Well, we'll see.
Command interface initiated.
A complex, messy situation indeed. Okay, so we're going to assist in the destruction of a Davian lance, which is up here. Protecting a Merrick lance over here, and an allied Merrick lance over here. In theory, they're the ones doing all the work. In practice, assume the worst. And then that's their evac zones. A catastrophe waiting to happen. We haven't played this scenario before. Okay, so there's the Merrick lance there. And here's the allied lance arriving in the AO. Cool. If there's only one Davian lance, then this is wildly overkill. So I think this is our evac zone. Maybe. I'm not sure which evac zone is which, but we can deploy like up here on the high ground. We know that the lance is over here, so we're probably going to have to advance a fair amount. That said, I think there's enemies, well, the enemies are over here, as we expected. So we could deploy here. Alternatively, we could deploy over this direction and have a clearer LOS. There's not a super clear deploy spot here, although this would not be a clear LOS because of this rock. Yeah, that's not a great idea. We could simply deploy up here and move forward. That is a decent option. We provide artillery support until we get LOS around here. Let's do it. Okay, so in we drop. We immediately see what looks like a Jaeger. Yep, that's a Jaeger, all right. Not very threatening there. There is a Davian support lance. Okay, we also see an Orion. Our friends have a Trebuchet, which isn't very threatening. That's a Gertrude. Getting good hits on it. So a Gertrude, a Kodiak, a Godzilla, a Rifleman. This Black Knight firing on this Orion. Getting good damage again. That's solid. Okay. A Perseus moves up, also hits the Orion. Structure exposure. They're hitting this Orion very hard. Okay. Cyclops moves up. Also goes for the Orion. That Orion can't take much more of that. Phase 18, the Jaeger moves up the hill. Which means it has LOS. It fires on the Bull Shark, but that's fine. We don't dislike that. So the Awesome is our first mover. The Salamander doesn't move until phase 17. We can sprint it up over here, which gives us direct LOS on the Jaeger.
Heading out. Full speed.
Do want to check. Okay, so we see 1, 2, that's 6 here. 7 and 8, a Rakshasa. Okay, so we see both lances there. That doesn't look too bad, in all honesty. We're going to Warlord, fire on this Jaeger.
Firing all weapons.
Structure exposure. Heavy rotary AC5 crit. This Jaeger is going to die very soon. Now I want to look at its armor amounts. Okay, we hit basically just in the arms. Good to know. Phase 17 is going to be an allied unit, specifically this one, the Padilla. We would love to see the Padilla fire at this cluster, and that's exactly what it does. Although it doesn't fire with very much AoE damage. Okay.
Commander.
So we're going to move our Salamander up here, and we're going to fire on this Jaeger. The question is, do we want to fire AX rounds here? Jaegers by default don't have that much armor. So I'm thinking we're going to fire improved rounds here. Do it.
Target locked in.
And that's a dead Jaeger. It did do a core meltdown, which is going to be interesting for getting through. Okay. And let's see what they move next. This is our allied turn, which is going to be this heavy artillery vehicle here. And I would prefer that it fire that at the cluster of units, but it didn't. It fired it at this Orion. So phase 16, who's going to move? Someone over here. Rifleman backs off, drops off of our sensors, but that's okay for the moment. The Mauler is going to sprint forward. It does not have LOS. The Annihilator is going to sprint forward as well. I'm thinking that we might lob LRMs at the Gertrude here. We would be attacking its strong side. But let's do it nonetheless. Okay.
Reporting critical hit.
So that's good. Next up, phase 15. Our friend the Madcap Mark II moves up, goes for the Gertrude. In this situation, I would have preferred that it go for the Orion, but okay. Phase 15. Who moves next? The Gertrude. It backs off a little bit and fires on the Padilla. That's fine. Okay, next up is, of course, our Madcap Mark II, which isn't really in a great position to do too much. We can also fire on the Gertrude, or we could fire on the rear arc of this Orion. The rear arc is... Actually, wait, is this side arc? No, this is rear arc. The rear arc is not that good to fire on, so we're just going to continue to hit this Gertrude, I think.
Roger.
Okay, got some more armor damage in there. Next up, who do they move? That'll be the Orion. Firing on the Padilla. That's fine. This is now side arc. So it's now much more viable for us to attack that Orion. The Padilla not really taking any damage there. Sounds good. Okay, that Rakshasa climbed down the hill. Sounds good. The Bull Shark is going to position up over here, and we're going to drop our artillery on this Kodiak. We'll Warlord to boost the hit odds a little bit, and we'll just go ahead and drop that. A very nice hit. I like it. That artillery doing some serious damage there. So next up, phase 12 mover. That'll be this Avatar. Fires on the Orion. It could get a kill here. And it does. Beautiful. So that's half of the Davian support lance gone. The Kodiak moves up. Fires on the Padilla. So the best artillery target at this point has shifted. And that target is now the Gaussilla.
Receiving you.
The longbow is, of course, not an artillery unit.
Roger.
So it moves up. It's probably going to continue to hit the Gertrude. We could get a kill here. And indeed we do.
Hostile removed.
Beautiful. So the Gertrude is out of here. We've eliminated 3 enemy mechs. The Victor moves over. Interesting. He's in direct fire of the Annihilator at this point. So we have a pretty good target there. That's good.
Hit, Commander.
That's very, very good. Next up is going to be our Boar's Head. The Boar's Head is going to position up over this way. And I think that we're going to drop artillery on the Gaussilla still. We know that there's another mech back in this region somewhere. So we're going to go ahead and do that in high explosive mode. And we'd like to not take fire from that Gaussilla, if we can at all help it.
Copy.
Very nice artillery hits there. Okay. I think the Gaussilla moves now. It does indeed. Fires on that Trebuchet. Does a lot of damage there. Inbound Leopard with Davian livery. I'm unsurprised by that. I thought it seemed too easy. Okay, so the Trebuchet moves up. Fires on that Kodiak. Gets some solid hits there. We'll allow it. Perseus moves up, fires on that Kodiak as well, and gets a solid hit there. The additional Davians are dropping in on the far side, right? I believe so. That Kodiak's armor is getting very low. That Black Knight might shut down from this. Nope. It's okay. So, still allied turn. Yeah, they're going to be dropping here. Got it. That Godzilla and the Victor. Okay, artillery on that Kodiak is fine. Where did that hit? I have no idea. That must have been wildly off. So the Awesome is going to sprint up over this way. Now all we can fire here is our LRMs, and that's fine. We're going to fire those at the Kodiak. This is a strong side, but that's okay.
Target confirmed.
We did get a little bit of internal there.
Solid connection on that one.
So that's nice.
Let's do this.
Our Salamander is going to look to sprint forward as well. We can't get into position to fire on this guy over by the Annihilator, but we can position over here.
Yes, Commander.
The Annihilator is going to step forward.
On the move.
And we're going to hit this Victor as hard as we can. But this is mostly going to be an armor shred. And we're going to, because of that, fire in cluster mode.
Taking this out.
Okay. Decent damage to that. Phase 15 is going to be the Rakshasa. And then, what mech are they going to move here? Their heavy artillery vehicle. That's not a great shot there, but I guess it hit both of those a little bit? Sure. It's not ideal. The Rakshasa is going to move up this way and engage our friends. That's acceptable? Ah, that was a mech that we don't see. So probably that Rifleman. Okay, the Mauler is going to sprint up over this direction. We would love to get an LOS, but that's not currently happening. Perhaps next round. We do now see that Rifleman over there again. So that's perfect. We see all 5 of the remaining enemies at this moment. However, after this round, another Lance is going to drop in. They're firing on the Black Knight. That's unsurprising. And then they're going to ace pilot after, presumably. So let's see what they do here. Yeah, that's fine.
Yes, Commander.
The Bull Shark is going to drop artillery on the Godzilla, as that's still the most centrally located target.
Roger that.
A good hit there.
No retreat.
A very good hit there. I like it. Our allies are going to fire, hopefully on this Kodiak, and that is indeed who they hit. Although, no hit there. That was a full-on miss. I'd love to see a knockdown on that Kodiak, though.
Ready for orders.
Now, the Magcat Mark II can position up over here, and so we shall. This is once again an armor strip on this Victor. So, we're going to Warlord, and we're going to hit this Victor pretty hard here. That's a structure exposure and a medium pulse laser destruction.
Inflicted some heavy damage.
And most importantly, the Victor is now unsteady with 2 exposed torsos. The Avatar is going to fire on the Rakshasa. I don't care for this choice. I would have much preferred that they fire on the Gertrude there. Or rather, the Kodiak. The Gertrude is dead. The Kodiak is going to fire on the Padilla and not get very much done there. That's fine.
Standing by.
We're going to move up with our longbow, and the longbow is going to look for the kill on the Victor. Our hit odds aren't the best, but we'll give it a go. 3 double heatsink destructions there
Targets.
into a knockdown. So I guess that's okay. Not the crits we were hoping for, but it'll do. Next up, the Godzilla moves up. It's going to fire on us, probably. Actually, it's going for the Padilla. I would have thought it would have fired on our Annihilator from there, in all honesty. But okay, we'll take it. The Boar's Head, at this point, should be targeting still the Gaussilla. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Ooh, that was a solid pair of hits right there. That was actually really good. An engine crit, that may also be a knockdown. It is a knockdown. These two are in serious danger right now. Now, the Victor gets up. It's still in serious danger. And let's see what it does here. Advances this way, perhaps, and attacks our Annihilator? Going for the Padilla. Okay, sure. I think that this is a foolish choice, but, I mean, it is a high-priority target for them, I suppose. Okay, and here comes that additional Leopard. As expected. Now, we don't know what's up there at this time. But that's okay. Phase 26, let's see what our friends do. They have a lot of good targets to hit here. They're going for the Gaussilla. I love it. And that's a dead Gaussilla. So we don't need to worry about that. Next up... Ah, that's an Ifrit. Okay. So we see an Ifrit up here. We see a Typhoon. We see a Vulture 4.
Commander?
Okay. So for now, we're going to take the Awesome up over this direction.
I'm walking here.
We can't do too much about that Ifrit, but what we can do is fire on this Victor and maybe get the kill here. This is side arc, and there's 1 HP in this torso. So let's see what we get here. That's a dead Victor. Beautiful. So the Gaussilla and the Victor have gone down. The Kodiak doesn't have much left. The Rakshasa is still fairly fresh. The Perseus moves up, goes for that Ifrit. I like the choice, but they didn't hit. That's fine. Okay. Our Salamander is going to advance forward as much as it can. We don't get any LOSs over here.
Oh yeah, you got it.
But we do get a sensor trace on the Rifleman, so that's fine. Next up is our Annihilator, which could position here.
Confirmed.
And this allows us to hit that Ifrit. Now, it's pretty out of range. And hit odds are low here. And it's certainly going to AMS a lot of this. I expect barely any damage, but this will lessen its AMS. Good.
Failed to connect.
Exactly what we were hoping for there, actually. The AMS going ham. So, the Cyclops will move. And it is going to fire on the Kodiak. I like this choice. Not good hits, though. Bad rolls there. Okay, that's fine.
Waiting on you, Commander.
The Mauler is going to move up here.
Moving out.
And the Mauler can also fire on the Ifrit. It can only fire the light AA missile rack. But we can Warlord that and fire it.
Ooh, I may need some more time in the simulator.
Yeah, those basically work like streaks, so that's okay. The Madcap Mark II can also fire on the Ifrit, only with his HA-20s, but that's fine. We'll strafe it a bit. 8 damage. Okay, sure. That's fine. And then we'll just ace pilot over this way.
Locking in coordinates.
Cool.
Aye, aye.
The Bull Shark is going to move up. There's not really a fantastic artillery target between these three, so we may there may be a unit that we don't see over here. We may just drop artillery on this Vulture 4. I think that's exactly what we're going to do. And it's a solid hit, too. I like it. Our friend the Black Knight moves up, goes for the Ifrit. Gets a decent hit there. Okay. Sounds good. So let's see what else our allies do here. Phase 18. The Padilla moves up, goes for the Kodiak. Not the best choice, in my opinion. There's definitely better choices for that. But okay. Enemy turn. Okay, that's that Typhoon moving up. It doesn't actually fire. Sounds good. And with that, it is about time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. We've got like 3 units here and at least 3 up here, so that's going to take some time to get through, for sure. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and I will see you all next time.